Hey, welcome to the conversation that's as diverse as the dogs that we adore. This is Gun Dogs and Guard Dogs, ultimate podcast dedicated to talking sense about dogs with Les Graham and Ross McCarthy. They work with all breeds of dog, but one specialises in gun dogs and the other prefers guard dogs. No flashy trends or social media hype here, just tried and true knowledge that stands the test of time. They bring you valuable insights and honest conversations about the social predator you share your home with. So here we go. About 45 minutes of gun dogs, guard dogs, good dogs, some maybe not so good dogs, and a dash of gossip.
Go on then.
Just the two of us today again, isn't it now?
I know. How are you doing?
I'm all right, thank you. Yeah, getting used to having these special guests.
What, you bored with me, Ross? Huh? I like the way you didn't answer.
I was thinking of something humorous to say about threesome, but we've done that already, so no, I won't.
Oh, we've already been there, done the threesome,
Yeah.
mate.
Won't go there.
At least once.
Yes, no, it's nice. It's nice to have the little guests on, isn't it?
Okay. Yes, it is. It's lovely having guests.
It is nice, yeah.
Yes,
but
we
no.
don't have to think about what we're going to talk about.
No, and it's equally nice just to spend time with you.
Yeah, right, okay. Did you know, like, you can get in trouble when your nose starts growing?
Well, you'll see if I turn sideways, yeah.
You don't have to, I can tell from here. Oh my God, did you get wet this morning?
No, I didn't get wet this morning, but that is a first for the last, a little while, British summertime and all that.
Oh, we got drenched.
Did you this morning?
Yeah, I got drenched.
No.
And my boots leak. So yesterday when I went out, my feet got soaked. And luckily me and Kenny are the same size shoe. So I wore his boots this morning.
And left him the wet ones.
Yeah, he doesn't walk the dog, so I took Danny out. Yeah.
Oh, nice fun.
I come back, I had dry feet for a change because they've been getting progressively wetter every day this week.
It's horrible, isn't it? It's horrible.
But my waterproofs were good. My waterproofs kept me dry, which is good.
Oh, my waterproofs aren't waterproof, but I got wet feet yesterday because I drove back into London and it was torrential rain. Like literally we were doing 20 miles an hour, windscreen wipers on full pelt, couldn't see what was going on. And I looked at my iPhone and it said, because I had to walk the dogs just to go to the toilet and stuff. And it said, I've got a 15-minute window. It said, rain stopping in 3 minutes, starting again
Oh my
in
God.
16 or something. So I thought, right, I'm not going to go home. I'm going to walk the dogs now. So I just had my trainers on and of course the ground was sodden. But the rest of it was dry.
It's really frustrating, isn't it? I like that I went out and I had my waterproofs on, thankfully, just walking through all the overgrown grass.
Yes.
I was like, literally, my waterproofs were halfway up my thighs, soaked just off all the grass.
I know, it's mad, isn't it? It's quite a strange summer, isn't it? Mind you, probably by the time this comes out,
Summer? What's that then?
Heat wave, won't we? Next time, by the time this is out, but it has been a strange.
It's out in a couple of weeks.
Oh,
So yeah, I think this episode goes out on the 21st. I think, and it's the 10th today. So miracles can still happen.
Yeah, it might be baking hot. We'll be moaning then about the temperature. Apparently, this time, was it last year or 2 years ago? I can't remember. It's 40 degrees.
Good God.
So I'd probably rather have this than that 40 degrees.
I said this morning I did a little video when I was out with Dante, and I said, here's for good weather for the CLA, but sod's law, because last year at the CLA it was absolutely roasting.
Yeah.
So
what dates are the CLA going for?
26th, I think. 26th until the 28th of July, Blenheim Palace in Oxfordshire.
Nice. No, well, you never know, do you, what the weather's going to be like? It's really tricky this time of year because you don't want it too hot, do you? Especially if you're doing dog demos and.
Yeah, we've got demos every day.
Yeah, no, you don't want it soaking wet and you don't want it too hot, so it's a difficult balance still.
Blue sky, about 16, 17 degrees would be perfect for doing their demoing.
Well, chances of you getting that will be what you wish for.
I put my weather witch hat on and you know, pray to the weather gods.
Yeah, no, it's tricky, but hopefully it'll be on your side.
Mm, mm. Anyway, we were going to talk, we were going to reflect today, weren't we?
We were going to do lockdown reflections, weren't we? Because what is it, 4 years ago, just over 4 years ago, we
Oh,
first went into lockdown.
more than 4 years. So we went into lockdown in, I think it was the 26th of March, 4 years ago.
Yeah,
But the first incident was so it was 2020. The first incident, I think, was the end of December, the middle of December 2019. And that was when there was the video of the Chinese doctor being dragged out of the facility. And he was shouting, "You've got to tell people about this, you've got to tell people this." And they dragged him out and they
oh,
pushed it up and they put him in jail. And that was the start of it. That was the start of it. And then they kind of hushed it all up, didn't they? And then they were taking the mickey. Do you remember the elbow thing?
I
They're
remember.
like, "Oh yeah, it's nonsense, it's nonsense." And yeah, let's not shake hands, let's just kind of do this with our elbow. And
Weird. My first memories at Crufts really because they were talking about lockdown and stuff, and we were at Crufts, and then they weren't talking about lockdown. No, they were talking about COVID, and we had to wash our hands and use sanitizer. And I didn't know that. I didn't know how to wash my hands properly till that point, but learned how to, including my thumbs. And yeah, we were all just carrying on as normal. And then it was when we came back from Crufts, it was like, oh, Bojo on the news saying everything's going to be closed and stay at home. Bizarre looking back, isn't it? It feels a bit surreal, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, did that really happen that we were stood on our doorstep every Thursday clapping or whatever it was? The only thing in our diary was that.
I know. And we had we had the instructors up for the assessments. We brought it forward. So there was talk about it. I think they went home the day, so they went home on the Sunday, and I think we went into lockdown on the Monday.
What, the next day?
We literally went into lockdown the day after they came up with their assessments. And I
Wow.
can remember because we're saying, sterilize, like clean your hands, hand sanitizer and stuff. And one of the instructors, Katie, just had a new baby. She couldn't get any sterilizing fluid for the bottles because everyone had taken it.
Yeah.
Sold out in England. So before she came up, I went off and did some shopping for sterilising fluid and everything for her because we could still get it in Scotland and we could still get toilet rolls then as well. Do you remember everyone went a bit wild for the toilet rolls?
What was that about? Why?
Because everyone thought, "Oh, there's a big bug coming." It's like the classic, isn't it? There's something coming. We're going to be sitting on the toilet both ends. Let's get the toilet roll in, not realizing what kind of virus it was. Just knew something nasty was on its way, and everyone immediately thought, "Oh, can I have the shades? Get the toilet roll in."
Did they? I just That's weird. It's so bizarre that's the like. You think, well, you're not going out anywhere. You've got no one coming around. So actually, just use a flannel. Do you know what I mean? It's not a toilet roll.
God, Rob.
Well, if you run out of toilet roll, so what? Run out of food, that's a problem, isn't it? But running out of toilet roll,
Use the
bizarre.
flannel. Oh my God.
Well, use whatever. Doesn't matter, does it? You're at home. The first I the first I really knew about that whole panic buying, I went rather naively, and I think it was before we went into lockdown, so it must have been sort of the weekend between Crufts and the
Wasn't the
announcement.
lockdown?
Yeah.
Uh,
And I went to Waitrose just to buy some eggs. I want 6 eggs. And I went in there. It was the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. It was scary. It was so busy.
Panic buying.
I mean, it was mad. There were people from the till right the way to the back of the store, every till,
Wow.
wearing masks, people wearing hats and like crash helmets and all sorts of stuff to kind of, go and
Protect
do their
themselves.
shopping. Yeah, and their trolleys, obviously, it's like, Christmas times 10. Their trolleys were all brimming over with obviously toilet rolls and tinned goods and all the rest of it. It was
Wow.
terrifying, actually, because it was just, I never did anything like that.
It is really scary, isn't it? And yeah, I can remember the panic buying and just the bizarreness of going into shops with people with like full crash helmets on. We weren't allowed. Do you remember the day when you went in and with your face covered and they'd say get that off your face, and then all
Yeah,
of a
you're not allowed to
sudden
wear anything. Yeah,
you had to wear everything, and it was just bizarre. And my first, because I started a podcast in lockdown,
yeah,
and I can remember going for a walk um in Bridge when I went down to little copse, and I thought I'll just do a little like live video, and that was the start of the podcast for me. And I did look live and said, "Oh, we're coming to the end of the first week of lockdown." Um, the government said it's a 3 week lockdown. I reckon it's going to be 3 months. I think 3 weeks is too short. I mean, yeah, try almost 3 year.
yeah. Well, I remember you
And
said to
on.
me, you said, I reckon we'll be in lockdown for about 3 months. And at the time I said, oh, yeah, okay. But I was thinking, oh my God, gee, 3 months? What are you talking about? Can't be doing that for 3 months.
And
But
I mean, people, you thought I was mad saying 3 months, and it was like,
I
no,
thought,
it'll be 3 weeks, Les. No, I reckon it's going to be at least 3 months.
how can you possibly shut the whole country down for 3 months? Do you know what I mean? How can you not have your hair cut? How can you not for three? But yeah, clearly you can.
I know. And what else do you remember about? There's like so many things I remember about lockdown. Um, it was so peaceful.
There was, I know, I mean, I don't want to sort of think back and sort of romanticize it because it was far from that, but the weather was amazing. Literally, as soon as we went into lockdown, the weather was amazing. There were no
Yeah.
aircraft in the sky.
There was nothing,
It was just
nothing. It was
really
lovely.
chilled. Yeah, it was really, there were some lovely sort of aspects to it. But I remember like meeting and seeing a woman, she's got a little pug and she often, older woman, she often stops and talks to me when I'm walking the dog. And I remember like one of the early days, I met her in this sort of little woodland pathway,
Uh-huh.
and she just the panic on her face when she saw me.
Oh God.
She was like, "Oh, I'm just trying to see where I can go to get away from you." Which is, do you know what I mean? It's the most bizarre thing. This lovely friendly lad just like saw me and just get away from him, get out of here. And those things were quite difficult to deal with, weren't they? The reactions from other people like that, and the keeping the distance and
Yeah.
the
And I think it triggered like with the dogs, the young dogs, and even the dogs that weren't 100% okay with people. There wasn't particularly anything wrong with the dogs, but they were just wary of people. Then all of a sudden, you had people reacting negatively when they saw
yeah,
us rather than the dog.
yeah,
And it's almost like they were agitating the dogs into aggression, wasn't it? They do this little shuffle sideways, and
mm,
that combined with the mask and just the whole body language became one of defensiveness, and the head would go down, they'd go sideways, and immediately, I mean, that's how you agitate dogs, isn't it?
yeah. And then
And it
people are
did, I think it
standing
caused a
between,
lot of issues.
yeah, people are standing between cars or in people's gateways and things, wouldn't they? To sort of let you walk past and, just
Mhm.
being general, whole weird kind of behavior really from our perspective and the dog's perspective, just complete change in how you behave, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Very strange. But I think all the dogs seem to cope quite well with all the face cover, considering it
I
was
think
so
I think they
strong.
did. I think it became the norm. I
Mm,
think they saw it so much. It became like unfamiliar, became familiar, didn't it?
yeah, became the new norm.
It became the new norm. It really did. And
Yeah.
um, what about, because like you live on your own, so how did you find that being on your own with the dogs?
Well, initially, I did have a little bit of a panic because I thought, well, you can't go and visit anybody and nobody can visit you. And actually, 3 months on your own, that's not going to be much fun, is it?
Mm.
Um, but then I kind of came to thinking, actually, 3 months with someone you can't stand would be a lot worse than being
Yeah.
on your own. And when I watched like a documentary on it was on domestic abuse, and then like when people went into lockdown, knowing that nobody could come and visit, they
Oh
weren't
my
going to have any
God.
surprise visitors and everything else. just the horrific things that went on because they could. And you just think actually being on your own, doing what you want to do, it's not the end of the world, is it? And it was fine, to be honest. It was one of those things you kind of got used to. We didn't have a choice, did we?
Mm.
Was what it was, really. I know a lot of people. I was quite. I followed the rules quite religiously at the beginning, and a lot of people didn't. A lot
At
of
the
people
beginning.
followed
I mean,
them.
let me just choke on my coffee.
Followed them for a long time, but no, I was really hot on the beginning. Like I wouldn't. Like someone said, "Can I come in your house?" I'd be like, "No." I wouldn't have visited anybody or anything. I didn't, and But I know a lot of people that their parents came to stay for the weekend and things, and I was like, "You what?" But no, I didn't. A lot of people, but I don't know if I'd do the same thing again.
Well, I think they'll have a hard job putting the country in lockdown again after the way they behaved.
Well, that was shocking. Well, that was really shocking, wasn't it? The fact that people, and a lot of people, the majority of people, I think, towed the line. And when you couldn't spend Christmas with your family and you couldn't go to people's funerals and you couldn't go and support your partner in hospital or whatever else, and then other people were doing what they were doing, that is just,
Well, the government is what I was thinking of.
yeah, that's what I mean. Beyond shocking.
Yeah. And I mean, we lost Kenny's dad when we were in lockdown. We couldn't go and see him. We couldn't go and visit him in the nursing home or anything.
No,
And the funeral was, you were in little family units dotted around, dotted around the creme. There was no wake because you couldn't go to
no,
people's houses, have a wake or anything.
no.
Yeah, and like the thing with the government partying, they were partying the night before the Duke of Edinburgh's funeral, weren't they? Because there was that image of the Queen sitting
Yeah,
in Westminster on her own, and the night before they'd all been partying.
yeah. No, that's, yeah, shocking. Dreadful. Dreadful. But no, a lot of people suffered really badly, didn't they? I think during,
Yeah.
with
I
illnesses.
mean, I think like we were really lucky. Kenny started working from home in the February, and he's still working from
Why
home.
was that? Just because of COVID or just because changes generally?
The company he was working for at the time had heard rumblings, so they said rather than have people come in, because it was when they were starting to consider social distancing. It must have been the beginning of March, because it was when there was rumblings like the same with Crufts, sanitize your hands, try and keep distance from people.
Yeah, don't hug people.
Yeah, they decided then to put everybody work from home.
That was
And
very forward thinking, wasn't it?
yeah, he's been working from home ever since.
Yeah,
So it's
a lot of
like,
people have, haven't they?
yeah. But at the time Callum was with us, he was, so it was interesting, Kenny and Callum here throughout lockdown.
He was going out to work, wasn't he, on a daily basis?
Callum was, yeah. Yeah, he
How did you
was.
feel about that at the time, like at the beginning? Because nobody knew. I mean, they painted a very bleak picture, didn't they? I mean, you cannot go out, you
His
cannot touch people. How did you feel about him going out every day?
His first shift was the night we went into lockdown. He started night shift. They do when lockdown. Scary because they didn't have PPE.
No,
And the nurses had PPE, they didn't. And the PPE they had was pretty appalling. And like they all had to shave their beards. Callum had a beard. The beards had to come off for the masks.
yeah.
And but he was on the front line. He was getting out. He was getting the baddies and putting them in the wagon, and putting them in the back of the cars with them, and there was
Yeah.
no protection. So I mean, he didn't get COVID until I think he got the first time he got COVID was last year. But it was awful. It was awful, Ross. And there was a lot of nutters about, like on top
yeah.
of COVID, there was a lot of nutters. Yeah, it was, you just have to hope that everything's going to be okay, really.
Yeah, the thing is, you had him coming back in the house, obviously, didn't you? Do you know what I mean? That's like an impact for him and for everybody else.
Yeah, no, they got showered at work, so all the clothes were left at work. So he didn't come home in his uniform. They had to get everything stayed at the office, and they had showers and everything. And then he came home and he showered again.
Oh, mad, isn't it? All that.
The
I
thing
don't
that I
know.
remember the most is putting the at the time we hadn't converted the garage into a studio, so he was out there, and he got weights and everything because he was getting really fit at the time, and so he converted the garage into a gym.
Mm.
And like that, he would start at 5, so he'd be down in the garage at 2 o'clock working out. 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, he'd be down there working out ready for his 5 o'clock shift, because it was how he, the weightlifting and stuff really kept his head in the right place.
Yeah, you got to do it, haven't you? If that's very I don't know if all that helped you, that whole showering at work. I mean, if it's a
well, we never had COVID the whole time he was here. None of us did. So
no. Well, I used to wash my shopping, did you?
no. I mean, that's not true. We gave it a wipe down,
Yeah, I didn't wash it. I didn't put it in the machine or anything.
You didn't get like did you? We had antibacterial wipes, and we just give it a little wipe.
Yeah, me too. When it first started, I used to go out. Yeah, I'd wear like a mask or whatever, or not initially because we didn't have to, and then I'd wear like a scarf or something around my mouth. Like in the summer, you go out with a full scarf around your face, and then I'd come back in, and then get an antibacterial wipe, go all around the boxes, all the shopping before I put it away, and then wipe the side, and then wash my hands. And
it's probably not a bad thing to do now. You see people get cans off the shelf and they don't wipe them, and I think, oh God, there's probably been rats and mice all over them.
Yeah, no, that's probably not a bad thing to do, but it becomes a little bit. It's one of those things that could get a bit obsessive, isn't it, and a bit ridiculous.
A bit OCD.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, oh, girl, don't bring that in the house until it's been washed and sanitized. But no, I stopped.
It was bizarre, wasn't it? And like when you had the shopping delivered, they would literally just put it on the doorstep, and you weren't allowed to open the door until they were so far away from you.
Yeah, well, I never had it delivered because you couldn't order anything. I mean, you just could not get, like, initially.
Could you not?
No, no chance of ordering, because I thought, initially I thought, well, if Waitrose is going to be like that, I'll order online. No chance. The website wouldn't even work. It was so congested. It was just
wow. I mean, it was funny because I don't mind shopping at all. So I would go to Tesco's, and I was waiting to be put into like the shielding category, because of the connective tissue disease and the drugs that I'm on. And I thought, right, I kept waiting for that letter to say you can't leave the house. Yeah. And I don't think I would have followed it, actually. I think I would have went out like normal people.
Well, there's your mental health to consider as well, isn't
there was the mental health to consider. And I didn't get it, which was really interesting. And then when they brought out the vaccination for the under 18s, I got a letter to say, soon as you're shielding.
Oh, really?
I thought, oh, okay, let's forget that one then.
Yeah. Oh, God. That's another thing, isn't it? All the language, all the new language we had to learn. Shielding, bubbles,
lockdown,
social distancing, lockdown. I didn't even know you could do such a thing. There was such a thing. All that terminology we had to learn was kind of bizarre, wasn't it? Weird.
I know. And I mean, I was quite lucky, like business-wise, because I started the APGI program in 2017. So from 2017, we were using, it was Skype initially, because Zoom wasn't very good then. And then we moved across to Zoom at the end of 2017. So when everybody was like panicking, oh, I don't know how to use this tool, we were like really proficient in it.
Yeah, no, that's lucky. I've never even heard of Zoom, I don't think, prior to March 2019.
2020, yeah.
2020, sorry. I don't think I'd heard of it.
It is amazing. Do you think it's had a long-term impact on the dogs, Ross? So thinking back, we both got a lockdown puppy, didn't we?
Yeah, later on in lockdown, I got a puppy. Yeah, it was like, what, the third lockdown or something? I forget how many we had, but
we had a lot. When did you get him?
Same time, got him 3 weeks later than you got yours, I think.
Okay, so I got Emirates April 3 years ago. So like 2021.
Yeah, it had to been
still in and out of lockdown, weren't we?
Yeah. Yes, because I think when I drove to pick him up, that was we were allowed to, but you had to have a reason to be going places. So yeah, but I haven't found, and when I've spoken to clients and stuff as well, that whole socialization aspect and things, I didn't find that difficult. And sensible people, even during that first lockdown, didn't find it difficult, particularly in London. It was just,
No.
it wasn't a thing. You go to public parks, there are people there. There's dogs, and unfortunately, they do, run over to you. So your dog does meet other dogs and things. As much as initially, I think, because they were saying that COVID was animals could be, what do they call it, a convector or something, or so they
Yeah, yeah.
carry the virus around and you can catch it from them. So of course you didn't want other people's dogs running over to you, did you? And you're like, oh, don't touch other people's dogs.
Yeah,
But
because he thought they could carry it on their fur, didn't they? Because they
yeah,
said, don't stroke dogs and don't do this and don't do that and don't touch them. And
yeah. So you didn't want them coming over to you, but they did, of course. So no, I didn't find the socialization aspect difficult. Obviously you couldn't go to the pub or whatever, but you could sit in the park for a few minutes and all the rest of it. But
me and my friend used to have, oh God, I can remember one day it was absolutely freezing. And we were sitting there in my hat and my coat and my gloves in the garden drinking tea.
yeah,
How sad is that?
I
And
know. Because
the
you're
other thing
allowed.
we used to do, there was a place down the road from us that used to do like takeaways, the takeaway vans. And we would sit in the cars and would have like with the windows open and we'd sit and have a coffee. She'd be in her car and I'd be in my car.
Yeah, and you sit and chat.
Yeah.
I know, because that's what one of the first things we were allowed to do, wasn't it? It was to go and it was what, no more than 6 people, wasn't it? You could go and be outside with as long as you kept
Mhm.
your distance.
Mhm.
But yeah, and then yeah, weird. And then we had that the whole phase of half everything was half open, wasn't it? You could wear a mask, you could take it off when you're sitting down, put it on when you move,
Ridiculous.
eat out to help out and all that nonsense, wasn't it? It was just, and your
Yeah, to help out. Let's just fill the morgues.
yeah, back into lockdown then, wasn't it? After that, and we've all been out for lunch, cheap.
£10 lunch, getting
Yeah.
sloshed.
But I don't know. I don't know how they thought. I mean, we delivered one workshop, like in-person workshop during probably this. I don't know whether it was between the first and the second, but it was in one of those funny little things where
Uh-huh.
you could do certain things and whatever. So we were at a hotel and people had to wear their masks when they came in and when they were moving.
Yeah.
When they were seated, they had to maintain their social distance. They could take their mask off, and of course that
Uh-huh.
don't work, does it?
No.
Because people are like chilling, they're chatting, and then we go buffet lunch. So you're supposed to put your mask back on, and then I mean, that's not. I mean, if you're sitting in a room full of people, 10 people or whatever, for a couple of days, is that going to make a difference? You're sitting 2 meters away and putting your mask on when you go to the toilet?
Not over time because it would build up. It would build up. It's
Yeah.
like I can remember when I used to commute years ago and you'd be sitting on the train beside somebody and they might have had like a ciggy or they might have had garlicky stuff and then
Yeah.
before long you're like licking your teeth, aren't you? Yeah, I can. And you think, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just in his breath at the minute. It's
It's like
disgusting.
prolonged exposure, isn't it? That's what it is.
Yeah, prolonged exposure. It was interesting because we had a workshop in between the two
Yeah.
lockdowns and like that you could wear a mask. You had to wear a mask if you were standing, but you didn't if you were sitting. So my teaching style completely changed in lockdown. I don't know if yours did or not. Because I was like when I taught, I used to be like walking up and down, I'd be really expressive and moving my hands and I'd be up and down, up and down, up and down. I now sit at my desk and teach.
Yeah.
I just and I've not really gotten back into standing up teaching. I think the CPD weekend that we had, which was amazing, by the way,
Yeah.
the CPD weekend, I was on my feet teaching for that. But yeah, for the instructors, I hardly stand up now.
Funny, isn't it? Funny how
Yeah,
things
and
change.
it's just habit because I didn't want to stand up and teach in a mask,
No.
which is really difficult. I found it much easier to sit and then you can use your facial expression, you can use your hands for a bit. But I mean, if you remember when we used to teach, we'd be like up and down all the time, wouldn't we?
Yeah, I mean, you can't really move about and talk in a mask, can you?
Not
Even
really.
psychologically, you feel like it's suffocating you, don't you? After, and
Yeah.
they're irritating, aren't they? Behind your ears and
Yeah,
no,
definitely.
you can't really do that, can you? No, I tend to sit on a stool anyway, or lean on a perch on a stool.
Yeah, I
So
perch. I don't move around now.
no, I perch on a stool, move about sometimes, but No, it's funny. I don't know what other long-term effects there were. Probably not that many, really, because I thought there would be. Like, I thought having such a long period of time with new rules, new lifestyle, new rules, I thought it'd take a long time for people to get back to normal, but it hasn't really, has it? I don't think.
Do you think people have got back normal?
Yeah, I think so. Do you not?
Not at all. I think people have changed for the worse.
Oh, well, I don't know about. I think their behaviour is back to normal. So, like, people will shake your hands and sit next to you on the tube, and all of that stuff's back, I think. Um, but I thought at the beginning, when everybody was like, saying, oh, I can't remember what they had like a phrase, didn't they, about be kind and all the rest of it. Do you know what I mean? It was like, I thought they'd have like a whole, I did think there'd be a bit of a social shift whereby people would be a lot nicer and a little bit more understanding of each other.
Mhm.
Because I think we spoke initially and we said, when we were eventually out of this lockdown hell, because we couldn't see the end to it at all. I mean, there was no
No.
vaccine and nothing. How the
No.
hell is life ever gonna be like it was? And what the blooming hell was I going with that one? Um,
You think we've recovered quite well and
yeah,
we're
well,
back
no,
where
I
we
thought
were.
there'd be, yeah, I thought there'd be a social shift because we were all saying at the beginning, like, well, we're looking forward to the parties that we can have. We're looking forward to hugging people because, of course, we couldn't hug anybody. We
Couldn't
couldn't
hug.
couldn't do nothing. Couldn't go and stand next to them. Could you? Let alone touch them. And no, that's not the case. People have not. They might have done that maybe originally, hugged and been kinder and stuff. But no, I agree. People are not.
Everyone's gone. I think, yeah, I think it's changed. It's really funny because I was listening to one of the podcasts we did, and God, we talked some rubbish in
Don't you start saying
lockdown.
that's what other people say.
Sorry, what?
Don't you start saying it. That's what other people say.
No, they love us really. They love the rubbish that we talk.
It's not rubbish.
Yeah, but I think people have changed for the worse since lockdown, and I think the way we treat dogs has got massively worse.
Mm,
Massively worse.
I think I don't know. I think well, I suppose the way we treat dogs generally as a group of people has because they've become quite disposable. Well, they've always been pretty disposable, but they're more disposable now. And I guess people didn't have any forethought. They thought they'd get a puppy for the kids or for whatever reason they wanted one, or so they could do their hours exercise a day or whatever, and didn't really think about any kind of future
No,
after that.
no.
Hence the mess now. And I think a lot of people, well, I just find it bizarre that people didn't consider even like leaving the little puppies on their own for a little while. Do you know what I mean? They're just in constant company with people when they got them, weren't they?
Yeah, but that's what's on social media, Ross. It's like, it's my puppy. I love him. I can't leave him. He'll die without me.
Well, I know. Well, people are just stupid at times, aren't they? But cause lots of problems for themselves.
Naive,
People.
naive. And easily, God,
I don't know about naive. I think stupid's quite accurate because there's a lot of
I was being
information.
kind.
There's a lot of information out there, isn't there? Do you know what I mean? It's not being naive.
But there's also a lot of misinformation out there as well.
There is, but there is also
So-called influencers, but no,
there,
really crappy influencing stuff.
yeah, there is a load of rubbish, but equally there should be an element of common sense involved, shouldn't there, in making decisions?
You're
Well,
funny today.
because I'm
That
tired.
doesn't mean you're not normally funny, of course. But
Well, they should, shouldn't they?
I think, yeah, I think there's a lot of information out there if you look for it, and I think there's some really good information out there. But there's also, I keep seeing the guy who's dying the dogs, you know, like there's a guy out there, he's a groomer, and he
Yeah,
keeps
yeah.
coming up on my feed, and I keep sharing it now and again. It's like, can you not just let a dog be a dog? And he
What, doing all
dies
the different
to look,
colours,
yeah, he dies
like
and
a
look like
giraffe or whatever.
giraffes and zebras, and there's one way it's a dog being swallowed by a fish. It's a poodle, and he's kind of shaved it so it looks like it's a fish. Like
Yeah,
it's a dog being eaten by a fish, and it's like, why don't you just, if you want to, do you
I
know what I
know,
mean?
I know. I find it quite disrespectful to the dog, but
It's usually disrespectful.
yeah, yeah. No, it's a strange thing. That's a strange what do you call it? Phenomenon, something to do. I don't know, weird, but it's a strange
But
thing.
they've got a lot of followers, so therefore they're influencers, and so
Yeah.
they are like leading the way for groomers to do it. So somebody who's got a fluffy thing could see that and go, "Oh, that would be really lovely. I can turn my dog into like a cockatoo or something, you know."
Yeah, I've got a party at the weekend, so what I'll do is have the dog to, look like a giraffe. That would be nice.
Yeah, and everyone will go, "Oh, look at that dog! It looks like a giraffe."
Yeah. There's only a certain type of person though that wants that, isn't there? Surely. I mean, most people would be like, no, actually, we'll leave Fifi alone. We won't bother with that.
I'm glad you said Fifi and not Fufu.
I wouldn't have said that.
Eh?
I wouldn't have said that.
You know, we both look absolutely shattered.
Yeah, well, we probably are, aren't we? We'll just look awful on you anyway. Um, yeah, no, it's all, I don't know, it's all dreadful really what people do, isn't it? Some
Yeah,
people, I
yeah, it
don't
is.
know. Yeah, people are quite
And then
selfish.
we've got the other side of it where they're killing with kindness.
Yeah.
So we've got the idiots who are doing all of these strange things with their dogs, and then you've got the people who are killing them with kindness.
You see that quite often. I saw a lady a couple of weeks ago, who was lovely and doing the very best thing she could for her dog. What she thought was the best, giving it food that she thought should do and food to clean its teeth and everything, she just thought, and you couldn't really criticize her because she just thought, you know what I mean? She was trying really hard and she loved her dog.
Mhm.
Actually, she was really cruel. Do you know, the dog was obese, insufficiently exercised, eating far too much. The temperature of the house was too hot for the dog with its coat. It was just, I mean, she adored the dog. You know what I mean? Adored it and just would spend
Giving
money on
it
it and cook
kindness.
for it. Yeah, everything. You just think this dog doesn't need that. It doesn't need that. It needs to throw out all that food and rubbish, get out, give it a run, train it, get it on a diet, give it a brush. You know what I mean? It's
Mm.
just, but yeah, just unwittingly being very unkind, I think.
Mm.
But I suppose that people just
And
can do.
there was a bit of a obesity epidemic for the dogs towards the end of lockdown, or the big lockdown where people were doing that. They were kind of overfeeding the dogs. They were you know, they were, oh God, what's the term? Could oh, I was going to say Kajabi, but it's not. It's oh
Sort of placating.
no, it's where your mouth feels empty.
Oh,
I will find you. It's a Japanese word. I'm going to find it for you because it's a really good word.
yeah.
Um,
Actually, say
and
the,
they were saying that a lot, but this is how we were during lockdown. Um,
what your mouth feels empty.
yeah, I'll tell you. I'll get it. It is a really good word. Oh God, it's a really long word as well. Kuchichababi. Lonely mouth. It means lonely mouth or
Oh,
lump
lonely mouth.
in your mouth, yeah. Um, I'll have to get Google to pronounce that for me because I don't know how to do it.
I'm not sure anybody
You
really.
ready? Let me see if it is that one. God, technology. I love technology. I'm a real techie, aren't I? Most of the time.
I don't know. Ain't working yet.
It's getting
Just
there.
seen
Oh
the
no, let's not do that
ultimate
one.
dog.
Oh God, just seen the ultimate dog way, and it is a dog with an umbrella attached to its collar.
Oh,
Looking at how to pronounce these phrase or this expression.
Normally they just give the word. No, it's not giving it. Or maybe I'm not a techie. Um,
oh.
Kuchubashi or something like that, and it just means that your mouth is lonely. And I think what happened in lockdown was I mean, I got it as well, you know, where you weren't hungry, but you wanted something. It was like that comfort of hand to
Yeah, I
mouth.
suppose. Yeah.
And I think what was happening was people were feeling like that, and so they were giving it to their dogs as well. So it's like, oh, I'm going to have a biscuit with my cup of tea. Oh, come on, do you want a biscuit as well? Come on, let's get you a biscuit. And I think there was a lot of that going on. And I know there
Yeah,
was a lot
probably
of dogs
was.
very obese at the end of lockdown.
Yeah, I should think a lot of people, if people did things like, a lot of people will take their dog to the pub, won't they, and things like that. And I suppose if people are not doing those things that they used to do with their dog, then there'd be
Yeah,
an element of like guilt, wouldn't there? Be like, oh, we haven't been out to, we didn't go to the beach at the weekend, or we didn't go wherever
so
because we
let's
can't
give the dog a
travel.
biscuit.
Yeah, give it a biscuit or buy it something else, buy it another treat. But yeah,
Yeah,
caused lots of problems, really, didn't it? This whole.
it really did.
I think the biggest thing is the quantity of dogs. I mean, I don't know. I still don't know why during lockdown. So I remember I'd one of the breeder of one of my dogs. I spoke to her because um one of my dogs ate some drugs or something in the park very early on in lockdown. So I had to go to the vet. Do you remember? So video.
I
Anyway, I
do
spoke to the
remember that.
breeder.
Yeah,
She was freaking out because she just had a litter of puppies just before lockdown. And she said, what the hell? Who's going to want to buy a puppy? What the hell am I going to do? You can't travel. You can't go and get one. I've
yeah.
got a litter of 8 puppies here. Jesus. And of course, that was the opposite of what happened, wasn't it? People did want puppies and they just went absolutely wild.
Went mad for it.
And then the price went up from like 800 or 900 quid for a puppy to 2.5 grand overnight, wasn't it? Pretty much.
Yeah, there was a Labrador, a lady who wanted a Labrador. They were gonna, so it was in the first lockdown, and they phoned one of my breeder friends and said, I can't. I want to go to Florida and I can't. So I've got 4,000. Can I have a puppy?
Yeah.
It's like, really? Because I mean the lab pups were going for about 4,000 in the end.
No, I don't know. I'm thinking a lot of people weren't working, and then you're going to spend 2 to 4 grand on a puppy. I
And
mean,
a puppy,
and then you'll get rid of it when you're finished. When you don't want it anymore when you're back to work.
no, it was awful. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, it's a very
Awful.
strange thing.
But we'll have come out the other side.
We out the other side, which I never, back in the early days, that seemed like absolutely impossibility, didn't it?
Mhm.
Real kind of impossibility. And we've learned lots of new language, and yeah,
And I will figure out how to pronounce this. I'm telling you, I will. I'm going to find it before you go.
yeah.
It's a great word. It's a great word. Um, what was I going to say to you? So before lockdown, during lockdown, and after lockdown, has your life changed much?
That's a very big question, isn't it? I think you've asked me a difficult question, so you can get on and find out what your empty mouth is in Japanese.
Yes.
No, I'll have to think about this for about half an hour now while you're doing that. Has it changed? It changed definitely during lockdown
Uh-huh.
because I wasn't allowed out. So yeah, that was weird. I remember at the beginning of lockdown, I had no internet, which the internet went down, and
Really?
yeah, and I was on the phone to the provider, and I was just like, "Are you kidding me? I literally, I mean, completely socially isolated now. People are running away from me in the street. I can't have anybody here. I can't go anywhere, and I can't access the internet. Like, can you just sort this out? Because otherwise, I'm going to go completely bonkers." Um, and the bloke came around because he couldn't come into the house. He was trying to lean through the window,
Oh my
testing
God.
stuff, round through the back window, round through the front window, plug this in the router. We're all keeping away from each other. All weird. So yeah, life was very different during lockdown. I'd walk the dogs for more than an hour a day for sure, um, which didn't affect anybody else. That was cool.
Mhm.
Since I suppose, I don't know, maybe I'm more grateful for stuff now.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, because as you know, I go to Warwickshire for work, and my mum lives like halfway between London and Warwickshire.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'd be back on my way home from work, like driving back from a weekend course or whatever, and I wouldn't go and see my mum. I'd just drive straight past and come home. And so since lockdown, I don't do that anymore. So if I'm going past my mum's house, I
Good.
go, yeah, I made that, yeah, because I can. And,
That's
I
a
could.
really positive change, Rob.
Yeah, I think there's a few things like that, right? And a few things I appreciate, like, yeah, like even like going out for dinner and like some of the just the normal stuff. I do appreciate stuff like that now.
Brilliant. Because I always used to say, you're going out for lunch with your mum, make sure you have a really good time with her.
Yeah, I know, I know.
No, that's great.
Yeah. No, there's lots of, and I speak to my dad actually. I used to like, I wouldn't speak to my dad from 1 year to the next,
Mhm.
but I speak to him a lot. So
Mhm.
yeah, there's positives and stuff. Yeah, yeah.
Good.
And I know how to use Zoom. I mean, you
And you know
know.
how to use Zoom, you're never off it now.
Yeah, I can't believe people still have every Zoom meeting I go on to. There's someone that's like, can't get the audio.
How do I do this?
Yeah, exactly. No, we can't see you, Janet.
You're on mute.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
you're press the buttons there. Press that
That's it.
one there.
Either that or they're
On
not
mute.
on you and they're talking to their other half and they're, talking to the cat or they've got the kettle boiling.
Burping
Yeah.
and farting and that was you the other time, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's it. No, I didn't fart. I did not fart. Yeah.
No, but you were burping away.
I just did have a little burp. Yeah. Yeah. No. So no, thankfully. And what about you? Things different for you just since?
Not
No.
really.
No.
Not really. I think because we live on the edge of a town where like you turn left and you're in the middle of the country and you turn right and you're in the village, really. Nothing's really changed. I don't really see dog walkers in the morning unless
No.
they're at the other end of the field and we give them a wave. And I work from home and
Yeah.
Kenny works from home. And I mean, the only difference now is if I feel a little bit, if I get a bit stir crazy, and then get in the car and go to a garden centre and stuff like that, whereas before you couldn't.
No.
Now I've got that and I can like go to Glasgow or Edinburgh.
No,
But
exactly.
otherwise, not really.
No, see, luckily I don't get like that, and I didn't get like that. Otherwise, that would have been I would have found that quite difficult if I'd wanted to get out.
Mm.
If I thought, oh, I need to go somewhere. But
Mhm.
no, I'm pretty chilled, so that wasn't a thing. So
I do now. I didn't in lockdown. Locking down it was just like, whereas now it's, oh God, I can't do any more at my desk. I need to go and
yeah, get out of here for a bit.
get out of here.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm just thankful that we could walk the dogs, because that was a big, that was like a major part of my day. It still is walking the dogs is the thing, so, but that was like the highlight of the day, wasn't it? Do you know what I mean? Going out,
Yeah.
walking the dogs was kind of a highlight. And also alcohol. I wouldn't have been able to get through it without wine. And they, in South Africa, when they went into lockdown, first lockdown, they banned alcohol sales, didn't they? So
Did
thank
they?
God. Yeah, thank God I'm in South Africa.
Oh my God. I
Yeah,
suppose that makes sense, really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it's probably a good thing to do, but yeah, no, it's yeah. Luckily we didn't. And I never ran out of toilet rolls. Didn't go mad and I didn't run out of toilet rolls and I didn't have to use a flannel.
I just got that visual gone and you brought it back.
Well, good. I shall leave you on that note.
Okay, until next time, go and wash your flannel. Take it steady.
Yeah, see you soon.
Thanks for listening. It's not just gun dogs and not just guard dogs, but all things canine, as we hope you have discovered. Please like, share and subscribe and help us spread a bit of common sense back into dog ownership. And a review wouldn't go amiss either. Catch up with Les and Ross again in about 14 days for more canine conversations. Until next time, stay well and enjoy your dogs. Any dog-related questions or topics, just drop an email to talk@cfba.uk or message us via facebook.com/gundogs and guard dogs podcast.